Hey, what is up, everyone? The scary, strange, and paranormal. True tales from Sean himself. What is up, everybody? I just got done making myself a nice, fresh pot of coffee. Nice dark roast. Oh, man. Gotta love dark roast. You know what I mean by that? Hope everybody is doing well. I am doing well. We got lots to talk about in this episode, this continuation of my Everything Scary and Strange podcast. You guys have been chiming in every episode so far and really contributing to the channel. So I'm actually going to be talking about you guys starting in this episode. I asked you guys to chime in, and I would give you guys shout outs and read your texts and comments. And I'm going to do that for the first time in this episode, along with my presentation and what my topic is today. So we have a really good one. We actually have quite a few. They're pretty long, so we could have an episode coming up dedicated to just covering you guys, but I'm going to throw one or two in today. We have a really good one that I want to share with you guys today from a viewer that left a comment on a past episode. So I'm going to be sharing that with you today. But we have a really, really interesting topic to talk about today, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy this episode. I'm trying to keep it scary. I'm trying to, prepare these ahead and really build these up and put a lot of time into these, and I think we got a good discussion today. Because there is so much to talk about in this series. I'm titling this one, God is in the TV. Remember that Marilyn Manson song? God is in the TV. Man, what a story. I talked about in my first episode in the intro to this series that I've witnessed a lot of things, both, paranormal, both nightmarish, both how can I say, experiences and stories from other people, close relatives, family, friends, and also sleep paralysis and just a little bit of everything and non-related paranormal stuff, stuff that I read about as far as local urban legends, scary roads. We're going to talk about all that on here. I talked about Weird New Jersey, which is a publication around here that I've actually contributed to and did articles and pictures for. Those guys are actually big time. They're on the Travel Channel now. They do those crazy, scary countdowns and where they try to debug video clips. I've actually been giving that a lot of thought, and because Ozzy actually does that now with his family, where they'll throw a famous, clip up and they actually talk about it. I might do that on this series because I watch so much of that stuff. I have a lot to talk about, and I might actually feature that on here if I'm able to, without copyright infringement, able to do that and actually play those videos on here and commentate through them. We may do that. We may do an episode where we just look at videos on the net and we talk about them, and I might do that from time to time and make that like a mini series. But for today, I want to talk about something very interesting, and I think I'm going to read a comment from a viewer. So we'll do that. Maybe every episode I'll at least try to get in one of your comments. How's that? If I don't do it, if it's not a dedicated episode to just you guys and it's me talking, I'll at least try to read one of your comments an episode. How's that? Is that fair? I think that'll be good, because then you guys are part of the show and you guys feel like you're being interactive with the show. I think that's the best way to go about this. What do you think? So maybe at least one or two an episode, and I'll feature you guys, give you a shout out, and keep sending them in, because so far what I'm reading from you guys is really interesting, really good. And that's why I started this series. I knew you guys had a lot to say. This gives you a way to vent, a way to share your story. Maybe nobody wanted to hear it. Maybe nobody's into it. I know that happens a lot. And this way, you guys can write me and I could share what I think about it and share it to the world and my viewers. And you guys feel like you're part of the show because you are part of the show. Most of this is because of you. Through the years, telling me, Sean, you got to do a paranormal show. You're so into it. Because I've been doing a lot of investigating through the years. And, there are a lot of topics. So, let's get right into it, okay? Here's my story, and then I'm going to read you a comment. The comment is completely different than my topic. This is probably, when it's all said and done, and I look back at all the episodes that I'm going to record for the show, this story is going to be the most craziest because this is something that I still think about today, years and years later. We talked about this in the intro episode about, when something so, crazy happens to you. It doesn't matter how much time has passed. You're always going to remember that incident, and you're always going to remember how crazy that was and how it stuck with you. And this is one of those instances. This is one of those examples. And I'll probably never experience anything like this ever. Who knows, right? But I've talked to people through the years. I've talked to both religious people and I've talked to both paranormal people, and people have told me, we 100% believe you. They really don't, a lot of times they don't know really what to say. Some say this was a sign. Some say it could be, one in a million. I've told many people this story. This is one of my memories that I did share with a lot of people through the years, just to get their take on it, and see how different people take it, because it's quite interesting. Because this also has a religious aspect to it, as also a paranormal. I don't know about paranormal, but I use that word paranormal. But ghostly. I'm going to get right into it. When I was younger, now I'm trying to think how old I would have been. Let's see. I wasn't living here. I was living in another part of New Jersey at the time. Let's see. Maybe I was in third grade. Let's say I was in third grade. So how long ago is that, right? Maybe fourth grade. No, all right, I'd say third grade. Yeah, third grade. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday, but I have a very vivid memory, even when I was very young. A lot of people don't. I do. And it was a regular day, regular day, whatever. I think it was a weekend. I was playing all day. I was I was a very loner type kid. I did my own thing. I mean, I would have friends every so often come over, but I was always into my own world. Played with my toys, played with my He-Man characters, whatever, my wrestling characters, whatever I was into at the time. I think it was maybe Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, whatever. And I was doing that in my bedroom. And it was getting, time for bed. And I came out and I said goodnight to everyone. And I went in my room. And, I was a scaredy cat growing up because I had a lot of weird shit happening to me. I told you I had. Well, sleep paralysis came way later. But that was more like when I was an adult. But I had nightmares. I had night terrors, which were fucking really bad. Now, long and short of it, when kids are young, they have crazy things happen to them. And you always hear the stories. Oh, you know, my something came out of my closet door moved, somebody was under my bed. And the parents to this day laugh and they say, "Oh yeah, remember when you used to say that?" Or they would go down the hall. You see it in the movies. They grab their parents and they bring them back to their bedroom and nothing's there, right? Typical stuff that happens to kids. Oh, you have a vivid imagination, you have a pretend, friend, or, you watch too much crazy cartoons or whatever. So I was in my room and I was getting ready for bed and I was getting tucked in. Well, I had fell asleep and this was way into the night. I don't remember exactly what time it was. I didn't have a clock or anything. Maybe I did, but I don't remember. Let's just say it was like 1 a.m. because everybody was dead sleeping. The house was silent. My grandmother had been over. My grandmother would visit from time to time. She lived in another part of New Jersey, but she only lived about, from where we were then, compared to where I am now, she was only about 20 minutes away or so. So I was in the bedroom, fast asleep, and so let me explain. My grandmother had a black and white TV. It was like a spare TV. But, that was pretty fucking cool to have. And the TV was crystal clear. It worked. It had the big long antenna, the bunny ear antennas. And she had given that to me for my bedroom. Now, at the time, that was like, whoa, I got a TV in my bedroom. This is cool. It was black and white, but it was like, this is awesome. But I didn't even have this TV plugged in. I had not used it in a while. It was just there. It was actually sitting in the corner of the bedroom. The cord was wrapped up, whatever. It was a very small television. Maybe it was 13-inch, maybe not even, I don't know. And my back was faced to the wall because my bed was up against the wall. And around, I would say 1 in the morning or so, I woke up and the room was very bright. And I remember opening my eyes. I was fully awake. I remember opening my eyes and staring at the concrete, the sheetrock of the white wall, in fear. Because why was my room glowing? Like, why was there a bright light? Because it had been almost pitch dark when I fell asleep. Maybe my mom had a tiny little nightlight on, you know what I mean? Like the kind you plug into the outlet. But that was more like a yellowish color. This was, for what I was seeing, was like a white bright color. And I woke up and I slowly turned. Okay? This is the experience. This is what I saw. And I have proof that this happened, and I'll tell you why. Because I was young enough, but I was smart to know what to do. Because I didn't want anybody thinking I was nuts. I turned around and the television was on, but it was pure white, and the TV was glowing. But there was something in the television. The television had a image in it, like a static image that was still. Mind you, this television wasn't even plugged in. I got out of bed and I went, and I'm pinching myself, making sure that I'm awake. I watched enough movies to know about this, I went up to the television and I saw the image of Christ on a cross. Now, we weren't like diehard religious people, like go to church. We believed we're Roman Catholic. My mom had crosses, but we weren't like some of these people are like dedicated. Not at all. We swear we're down to earth. We want, you know what I mean? We're not like, you know what I mean? We're not like that. Well, I went to the TV and you could see it just like this. Head tilted, arms stretched out. You couldn't see the cross, but you could see him like he was on a cross and his arms were stretched. You could see the full of his body and his head. You have to remember something. There was no cell phones back then. There was no cameras. Everything was film. But my first instinct was to get somebody up and to let them see this so that I know to this day of what I saw was real. I went into my parents' bedroom and I got my mother and father up out of bed. It took a long time and a lot of convincing. I didn't even tell them what was happening. I just said, come into my bedroom if you trust your son. They both came in and they saw it. And to this day, my father will tell you, I saw it. They both stared at each other. My father left the bedroom, went downstairs, went and woke up my grandmother. And my grandmother came in my bedroom and she saw it. And now at this point, my grandmother's going, oh, she was Italian. Oh, Madonna mia. Oh, it's Jesus. He's his sign. He's, it was, it's like the fucking Fatima, like when the girls saw the Virgin Mary on the mountain. You know what I mean? It was, it was Jesus, or like how they see him in the scrolls. And I remember to this day, I sat on the bed. My mother sat next to me. My father sat next to her, and my grandmother sat next to me on the other side. And we all stared at the TV for about, I would say, it seemed like forever, but it wasn't. I would say 3 minutes. And then it vanished. It was gone. And it went completely faded back to normal and never, ever, ever, ever to this day happened again. But I'm happy, because I did the right thing and I woke people up and they saw it. And they can't just say, because listen, it's not that they wouldn't believe me, but it's not the same as seeing it. They would say, oh yeah, you sure it wasn't sleep paralysis? You sure you weren't sleeping? They saw it. My grandmother saw it. She's now passed away, but my father and my mother, they saw it. And it wasn't like it had perfect detail, like you could see like the detail in his face or skin. It was, almost like an outline, but very distinct and very bright. And I'm going to tell you stories on this series up the wazoo, and this one will always, 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 always be the freakiest. There's another one that's actually from my father that's pretty plain cut and dry that's going to have your head spinning when you hear this story. Because my father saw a ghost point blank in front of him. Point blank. But this will always be a stunner because I was able to get other people to see it, but it was also like it had that religious aspect to it of, I don't remember if there was any events that had happened after that. But yeah, I don't know what it meant. I don't know if it was meant for us to see. I always think to this day, like, what if I never turned around? What if I just went back to bed? What if I never seen it? Would it have happened again? We all never experienced nothing like that ever again. That was it. That was just that one time. And like I said, I must have been around, I must have been 3rd grade or so, I want to say. I was living in the house that we lived in before this one. And people tell me it was a good thing. That's a good sign. It wasn't nothing evil. It wasn't nothing meant to be mean. So yeah, I don't know. But all I know is that it had to mean something, right? It definitely had to mean something. Who knows? I'm going to get it. So think about that for a while. Tell me in the comments what you think about that. It's definitely an interesting story, right? It's an interesting tale. Okay, here's a comment that I'm going to share with you guys from a viewer. This was left on my first episode. It's from Melissa Gerber. Someone I used to be in touch with said that she brought spirits back from a cemetery in New Orleans. Many were human spirits, but one seemed sinister and inhuman. She thinks that it may have caused her husband's fatal accident at 38. She saw them for years. While her father was ill, he'd see people in the yard outside his hospital room and talk to people in the room with him. After he died, all the spirits were gone. I think that her father convinced the spirits to cross over with him. That broke the black thing's hold over them, and it wasn't around her anymore. What a great story, Melissa. Wow. When you were first talking about going to the cemetery and they followed back. That's what they call a banshee. That's like a banshee. A banshee is a spirit or a lost ghost that, attaches to you, that wants to follow you mostly back to, home or wherever you're going. Because a lot of spirits are lost or they don't know that they're dead yet and they're confused. Wow. But that is a really, really, that is an interesting story for sure. But this is really interesting here. Most were human spirits, but one seemed sinister and inhuman. So seems to be demonic. Seems to be something that was, mixed in with the human spirits. And I see that a lot with these paranormal shows where they're in a house and it has spirits and there's always one demonic spirit. And a lot of times the demonic spirit is holding the human spirits from crossing over. It's almost like stopping them because it doesn't want them to cross over. It's like a wall, like a blocked wall. And the demonic spirit wants them to be in limbo or in agony for the rest of it, the afterlife. That's a demonic demon spirit. So that is wow. That is really something, Melissa. Thank you for sharing that. It is definitely a great, great story, and it's a great experience that you had, and very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I really enjoyed reading that. I have similar stories to that on the future here covering. But yeah, I read that a lot, and I see that a lot in other people's experiences, that there's always that at least one inhuman, dark spirit that is mixed in with the other human spirits. And a lot of times when these psychics or mediums or ghost investigators come over, or even priests, to get the spirits to pass, it seems to be that there's always something like that that's stopping it. And very interesting. Very, very interesting. Definitely. Thank you so much. I'm glad to cover that. Like I said, I'm going to try to at least cover one comment from you guys on each episode. And then I'll have dedicated episodes where I just read you guys, because there are a couple on here that I do want to get to. Some of them are quite long. Thanks for joining me, guys. Tell me how you liked this episode. Again, leave comments, contribute to the show. Let me know your experiences and tales. I want to share them on here. I really do. Take care and hope to see you on the next episode. Stay strange and scary and stay safe.